I'm Ben Morales, and this is my biology yearbook. Science Research Project. A controlled experiment is an experiment where someone who is performing the test only changes one variable at a time so that they can get the right results. For my research project this year, we wanted to find out which household product would be most effective at preventing water from freezing. We did this to see if there was a better, cheaper, and more environmental friendly option other than rock salt. In our conclusion, we found that the other products we used, such as dish soap and vinegar, were no match to the rock salt. We did only test each project once, so if we were to do it again, we would use different products and have more trials to improve the experiment and get more accurate results. This is a eukaryote cell. It is an organism that meets all the requirements for life because it grows and develops, reproduces, regulates homeostasis, and processes energy. The biomolecule that I chose was proteins. Its monomer is amino acids, its polymer is polypeptides/proteins, and the function of the proteins is that it provides structure and support while also giving energy to the cell. This is a eukaryotic cell, and it is like a city because the nucleus is like the town hall, the cytoplasm is like the atmosphere, the vacuole is like the water tower. The lysosomes are like the waste disposals, the mitochondria is like the energy plants, and the rough endoplasmic reticulum is like the highway and the road systems. The events in interphase are the G1 phase, the S phase, and the G2 phase. In the G1 phase, the cell grows. In the S phase, the DNA replicates, and in the G2 phase, it prepares for mitosis. These are the stages of mitosis. In prophase is the first stage, where the chromosomes become visible and the nuclear envelope disappears. Metaphase is the second stage, where the chromosomes become attached to the spindle fibers. Anaphase is the third stage, where the chromosomes move away from one another to opposite poles. Telophase is the last stage, where the chromosomes move to the ends of the cell and two nuclei are formed. Mitosis versus meiosis. Mitosis is important because it produces new cells and replicates old and damaged cells. Meiosis is important because it ensures that all organisms that reproduce sexually have the right number of chromosomes. Mitosis creates body cells, whereas meiosis creates sex cells. In mitosis, there's one cell division. In meiosis, there's two cell divisions. There's no recombination or crossing over in mitosis, but there is in meiosis during prophase. Mitosis produces two diploid daughter cells, and meiosis produces four haploid daughter cells. In mitosis, daughter cells are identical, and in meiosis, daughter cells are genetically different. But in both mitosis and meiosis, they both create new cells, follow some similar steps, and begin with one parent cell. During DNA replication, DNA makes a copy of itself during cell division. The first involves the enzyme helicase, which breaks the hydrogen bonds and unzips the double helix. The separation of the strands creates a replication fork. One strand is the leading strand, which is 3' to 5', and one is the lagging strand, which is 5' to 3'. Then DNA polymerase binds the leading strands and adds a complementary nucleotide base. While that is happening, DNA bits called Okazaki fragments are added to the lagging strand. When all the bases are lined up, an enzyme known as DNA ligase seals up the sequence into two double strands. RNA is different than DNA because where DNA is double-stranded and stable under alkaline conditions, RNA is single-stranded and unstable. Also, their base pairing is slightly different. Through his work with pea plants, Gregor Mendel discovered genes come in pairs and are inherited one from each parent. He did this by observing the traits inherited by combining tall and short plants to discover dominant and recessive traits. One genetic disorder that we learned about this year is trisomy 21, also known as Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a condition where a person has an extra chromosome. This is caused by a random cell division error that results in an extra copy of chromosome 21. It is inherited like a chromosome, half of the egg cell and half of the sperm cell. Symptoms of Down syndrome include distinct facial appearance and intellectual disability and development delays. There are early treatments to help improve skills such as physical and educational therapy. Some facts about Down syndrome are that there are more than 400,000 people with Down syndrome living in the US. Down syndrome is actually the most common chromosomal condition. Roughly 25% of families are affected by Down syndrome. Natural selection. The organism that I chose was a chameleon. The chameleon has many physical adaptations to help it survive in its environment. One adaptation that helps them is their hooded heads, because it helps them collect water in the form of dew. This also impresses their mates. Another adaptation is their swiveling eyes, because it helps them pinpoint fast prey. The last and mostly known adaptation is their color-changing skin. This helps them blend into their environment and hide from predators. These adaptations increase the chameleon's fitness in their habitat. Biogeography is the study of geographical distribution. This leads to species evolving in moving locations. Elephants are a modern-day example. The arm of a human and wing of a bat are homologous structures because they came from a similar and common ancestor. The wings of a bird and fly are analogous structures because they developed for a common function, which is flying. The human appendix are vestigial structures because they have no function and could be residual parts of a past ancestor. One of my favorite memories from our school year in biology class was our DNA extraction lab. I really liked labs because they were fun and interacting. Something about this lab made it my favorite. It was probably smashing fruit and mixing chemicals that made it so memorable. Also, being able to do it with a group was really fun. I'm not even sure what grade I got, but that is my favorite memory from my 2020 biology class.